The views, information, and opinions expressed during the following program are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent the views of Access Communications, its representatives, or its employees.
My microphone on first. Welcome everybody to Weyburn City Council for Tuesday, July 13th. This is our regular Monday meeting. So we got a little bit of business to do, so we're going to get at it. It's cooling off rapidly outside, so we want to get everybody out of here while it's nice and hot still. First order of business, if I could get the minutes from the June 22nd meetings, please, approved.
Your Worship, I'll move that the minutes from the regular council meeting and strategic planning and priorities meeting held June 22nd, 2026 be approved.
I'll second that, Your Worship. Thank you. Any errors or omissions? Any changes to those minutes? Any updates to those minutes? Hearing none, and I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. Next up, our agenda is before us. Any additions to the agenda? Council? None? Administration?
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. None tonight from council.
Good. Thank you. We'll keep moving. Public hearings and notices. There are none. Delegations, proclamations, and petitions. We have none. So next, first up, I should say, I guess, first up, reports of standing committees. So there's a couple of things that happen in this part of the council meeting. Any councillors that are on committees, most assuredly, we would be welcome to hear about those committees that you serve on. And we also tonight are going to hear our regular update from the Aquatic Facility Steering Committee. So we will look to the Director of Leisure Services, Henning, to kick us off.
Thank you, Your Worship. So you have in front of you there the council summary report. The summary provides an overview of project activity for the month of June and the status to date. Work this month focused on reviewing prime consultant and geotechnical procurement submissions. Prime consultant RFP individual evaluations were completed by Colliers and the steering committee on June 2nd, 2026, followed by a consensus meeting on June 3rd, 2026, where the highest ranked proponent was confirmed for council recommendation. Council unanimously passed a motion to proceed with contract execution and the preferred proponent on June 22nd, 2026. A kickoff meeting was held on June 26th, 2026, with P3 architecture, and contract finalization is currently underway. The geotechnical RFQ plan, ground engineering, has been selected as the geotechnical firm with a kickoff meeting held on June 24th, 2026. An initial site visit is planned for the week of June 29th, 2026. Proposed change for a topographic survey has been requested for steering committee review, and site mobilization is anticipated for the week of July 8th, 2026. Currently, that is now standing at July 15th. New project commitments with 2 service providers now engaged. The associated contracts are being finalized. Prime consultant and geotechnical services agreement are processing through execution. Overall, the project is progressing as planned and remains well positioned as it transitioned into the pre-design phase. Key risks and opportunities. A risk register has been developed and shared with the steering committee to support this work. It outlines potential risks and opportunities along with strategies that will be used to monitor, mitigate, and respond to risks as the project moves forward. While the project is not considered to be at risk at this time, early identification and ongoing management will help maintain a low risk profile and allow the team to take advantage of opportunities as they arise. Currently, the key opportunity identified through the project's tracking process is summarized below. The Building Community Strong Fund is a potential funding source that could help offset eligible capital costs and improve overall project affordability. Currently, the next steps are explore submitting an early expression of interest and review other funding programs that could be combined with this opportunity. DCG Philanthropic has been requested to provide a proposal to support the management of funding opportunities. They submitted a proposal to the city at the end of May, and it has been reviewed. As additional clarification is required, the steering committee has requested further information. Budget status. Total project budget is $30 million inclusive of PST. Within this amount, $1 million has been allocated specifically for existing facility work, including assessment, potential demolition, and related activities. The cost allocations in this section are preliminary and based on comparable projects with similar scope and requirements. Adjustments to their budget allocations were made, and the baseline was formally set on May 15th, 2026. As the project progresses and Class D estimates are completed, the budget will be further refined to provide a more accurate breakdown of anticipated costs. For this month, the budget is on track. Project budget is depicted in the graphic there. It has not changed since last reported. Schedule status: the key project schedule milestones are outlined below, with timelines presented at a quarterly level. This represents a high-level milestone schedule based on construction management at-risk delivery approach. The master project schedule baselines are currently being updated to reflect the latest scope and sequencing. The finalized baselines will be used after the prime consultant is engaged. For this month, the schedule is noted to be on track. That is the report status update.
Very good. Thank you. Just, I guess, quickly, do any councillors have questions? Councillor Morissette?
I do. Thank you very much, Your Worship. Director Henning, so it was brought to our attention that there's been some marking of irrigation lines over in the west part of Jubilee Park. Does that have anything to do at all with the pool project, or is that a completely different thing?
No, there are some markings. We, as part of geotechnical, you're performing a ground disturbance, so the line locates have been done in the vicinity where the vicinity of interest for a new aquatic facility.
Yeah, for sure.
But just because there's markers there doesn't mean that that is exactly where the new building is going to go. It's just you have to do some marking out to see if it's going to affect the ground in that particular area?
Correct. We have to understand what the ground is all around so that the pre-design team has an opportunity to assess the best placement.
Thank you very much.
Good. Yeah, Councillor Bador. Sorry, was there a hand up over here too? No. Councillor Bador.
Just that Building Community Strong Fund, is that a federal grant, or where does that come from?
City Manager, you're best to answer these.
Yeah, that's a federal program with them working with provincial government for matching funds. So right now they're looking for interest on projects. The interest projects right now have to be a Class C. So what our consultant's trying to do right now is provide some information to the federal government for a project that is not within that Class C, just to work within that process to let them know about the project. We have had conversations with the federal government about timelines towards getting Class C. So Class C is once you have all your architectural done, you're going to bid, all those different things. We're not at that stage yet, but they are asking for municipalities to put that interest in.
Thanks. Anybody else? Nothing? Thank you very much, Director Henning. Council, any reports from committees that you're serving on? Councillor Bador.
So the Weyburn Ag Society held their fair here last, I guess it seemed like last week or a week before that. Very successful overall. I think the weather wasn't super cooperative every night, but overall I think attendance was up for the fair. A little bit different mix. I was able to attend one night, and I still think I have some residual tire smoke in my lungs. I was actually announcing on the grounds there, but overall really good attendance. And another big theme is people were coming from outside of Weyburn to come into a small town fair. So we saw a lot of attendance from bigger centers around Weyburn that they're coming to attend a small town fair. So congratulations to that team.
Thanks for that. And yeah, congratulations to the Ag Society. That was a great event. Anybody else? No? All right. Thanks, you guys. We'll move on. Next up is our consent agenda. So I would take a motion to get that consent agenda on the floor, please.
Your Worship, I move that the following reports on the consent agenda be approved. The Building Department's report June, Fire Chief report for June, Public Works report for June, and the Water Treatment Plant report for June.
Great. You have a seconder?
I'll second that motion, Your Worship.
Thank you. Anything we want pulled off of that agenda for discussion? Hearing none, then I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. As always, those reports, along with the entire council package, is available on the city website. If anybody's interested in reading those, please do so. All right, let's move on to motions. Next up, accounts payable. If we have a motion for that.
Your worship, I would move that the purchases from June 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2026 in the amount of $1,545,093.15 be approved for payment. The purchases include quick pays of $225,491.56, accounts payable of $685,450.27, direct withdrawals of $629,548.13, and debit card transactions of $4,603.19.
Thank you.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
All right, thanks so much. Questions for the Director of Finance on that item? Hearing none, then I'll call the question. All in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much. Next up, probably the most exciting agenda item there is tonight, the presentation of our 2025 financial audit. We will look to the Director of Finance for that one, please.
That's right.
The most exciting part of the evening. Yes.
All right, so the 2025 audit of the City of Weyburn was recently completed by Doan Grant Thornton LLP. The independent auditor's report that GGT has provided is a qualified opinion. It's on page 2 of our statements. As the City of Weyburn has employees with the benefit of accumulating non-vesting sick leave as of December 31st, 2025, this is similar to prior years. And management has not recorded an estimate as the accrued benefit, and therefore a qualified opinion is being presented. Since it is a departure from Canadian public sector accounting standards, it's management's opinion that the accumulated sick leave is not an accurate representation of a liability to the city, as sick leave is not a payable benefit upon termination. The qualification is also stated in relation to buildings containing non-exposed asbestos. Currently, there is no estimated liability on the retirement of the assets, and therefore remediation of the asbestos is not estimated and disclosed as a liability, resulting in the qualified opinion. So the audited financial statements are prepared on an accrual basis, but the city's annual budget is prepared on a cash basis, so this creates a disconnect between the audited financials, which are accrual, and the budget, which is cash. So the audited financial statements show a deficit budget due to our internal transfers, amortization, and transfers for capital purchases. Note 2 on page 15 presents the calculation to a balanced budget since we budget to 0. So our financial statement budget deficit is 1.2 million. Our internal transfers are 1.2 million. Our amortization expense was 4.4. Capital purchases of 7.5 million, and loan funding, which was received in 2026, of 3 million to get us to a 0 deficit budget. So I will go through the significant changes and variations that we had. So on the statement of financial position, which is on page 5, our cash and cash equivalents decreased by 4.8 million, and this was mostly due to funding our utility and infrastructure projects through our cash on hand, since we didn't receive our loan until January of 2026. Our investments increased by 1.1 million, and this was our long-term investments that had some positive returns, which increased our value at year end. Tax receivable increased by 207,000. This just consists of a few larger accounts that were collectible at year end, and they have since been collected on. Our other receivables, they increased by 2.2 million from 2024, and this was due to a receivable that we had from the ministry for the paving project done within the city. And this has also been collected since year end. Overall, our liabilities decreased by 66,000. Our accounts payables actually increased by 518,000, and this was mostly just due to receiving late invoices from vendors. Our accrued liabilities increased by 88,000, and that was mostly payroll payable at year end. Our other liabilities increased by 85,000, and this is just due to some prepayments that we're owing back. A payment to our loan with MFC reduced the liability by 922,000, and this loan can be found on page 17, note 12. So our tangible capital assets increased by over 10 million. So this consisted of paving of King Street from First Avenue to Fifth Avenue North, traffic lights at Fifth Street and First Avenue, Souris Avenue, and the 4th Street water main replacements, the water treatment plant pack feed system, the stop log upgrades at the dam, lagoon infrastructure upgrades, the landfill site fill plan, the police station roof replacement, we had boardwalk repairs, and fleet purchases included the tandem dump truck and a cold planer skid steer attachment. So our prepayments and deferred charges decreased by $187,000. This is mostly just due to we didn't pay a large bill that we normally, or we have in the past, that was a prepaid at year end. So our statement of operations on page 6, it's detailed out in schedules 1, 2, and 3, so I'll go through the details of it. Page 20 is the schedule of taxes and unconditional revenue. So overall, we were $267,000 under budget, and this was mostly due to our taxes. The general levy was $95,000 lower than budgeted. 2025 was a revaluation year, which resulted in appeal adjustments, and so then it resulted in a lower tax revenue coming in. And also our grant in lieu for taxes, the SAS Power and energy grants received were $117,000 below budget. The schedule of operating and capital revenue, this was above budget by just over $2 million. So the general government was $268,000 above budget, and this was due to investments being higher than budgeted. Protective services was $200,000 above budget due to an increase in rural fire calls and for the fire assistance that they received for going up north and fighting fires. Our transportation services was $1.78 million above budget, and this is mostly due to extra funding that was received that we hadn't budgeted for the asphalt project with the ministry. It was the receivable at year end. So environmental and public health services, the landfill was $223 above budget, and the multi-material stewardship Western program funding was $88,000 above budget, which resulted in $376,000 in extra revenue to go towards the landfill. Planning and development services were $229 below budget, and this was due to just less permits and development fee revenue coming in. Recreation and cultural services was below budget by $83,000, and this was just due to community contributions that weren't received for a project being delayed. And we actually had facility rentals that were $53,000 above budget due to increase in our ice arena rentals and an increase in the rates. The utility services was $140 above budget, and that was just due to an increase in rates and increase in water usage. So the total expenses by function, that's on Schedule 3, it's pages 25 to 28. So overall, it was just under $3 million below budget. So general government services, their expenditures, they were over budget by $37,000, and these were mostly due to additional SAMA fees, legal fees, and consulting fees that were required throughout the year. Protective services, police protection, expenditures were over budget by $23,000, and this was due to professional and contract services that were above budget that were pre-approved by council. Fire protection expenditures were under budget by $257,000, so wages were under by about $100,000 due to vacant position. Maintenance, materials, and supplies were under budget by $158,000 due to the air purification project that wasn't completed. Transportation services expenditures were under budget by $1.2 million. So this is mostly professional contract services were under budget for $734 due to asphalt that was capitalized rather than being expensed, and for a road assessment that was postponed. Materials, maintenance, and supplies were under budget by $549,000 due to the airport asphalt project that was postponed and asphalt projects that were reclassed to capital. And there was also less snowfall resulting in lower snow removal costs. Environmental and public health services, the expenditures were over budget by $76,000, and this was due to the landfill retirement obligation of $84,000 that we have to record that we didn't budget for. Planning and development services, the expenditures are under budget by 152, so professional and contractual services were under budget by 166,000 due to contracted budget inspection expenses, which also resulted in lower revenue coming in. Recreation and cultural services expenditures were under budget by 458,000, so this was mostly the materials maintenance and supply costs were below budget by 448,000. And this was the arena and water tower repairs and maintenance that were postponed. The utility services were under budget by just under $1 million. The professional services of 806,000 due to the stop logs and the riprap repair were capitalized rather than expensed, and we had them classified as an expense in the budget. Maintenance, materials, and supply costs were below budget by 173,000 due to carried over projects to 2026. So the schedule of accumulated surplus is on Schedule 8 on page 32. The reserves decreased by 78,000. So this is due to some internal loan advances for the water treatment plant projects. However, we do have quite a few payments that go back to reserves for internal loans. So this has kept our reserves quite steady over the years. So overall, in 2026, we had a surplus of revenue over expenses of 3.9 million with investments in capital of 10.2 million. The annual surplus is added to our beginning accumulated surplus, resulting in an ending accumulated surplus of 121 million. This is effectively the net asset value of the city and the city's assets. So council recommends, administration recommends that council approve the 2025 audited financial statements, public accounts as presented, along with the adjusting journal entries, schedule of unadjusted errors, and management representation letter. The financial statements and the public accounts will be available on our website, and they'll be available once the final copies are received from Doe and Grant Thornton.
Thank you, Director Masal. Okay, let's get a motion to approve these as presented so that we can.
Your Worship, I move that council approve the 2025 audited financial statements and public accounts as presented, along with the adjusting journal entries, schedule of unadjusted errors, and management representation letter.
Thank you.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
All right, thanks very much. Okay, so we have these on the floor. Questions from council on the audited financial statements as presented? Councillor Higgs.
Director of Finance, just for clarity's sake, I know we've been through it many times, but that $121 million figure that you threw out right at the end, that's the entire assets of the city. That's not our savings account, correct?
Correct, yes.
All right, thank you.
If we were to sell everything, that's, I guess, what it would be worth.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Councillor Bador.
Just have a quick question on a few times through the report, it was things were moved to capital, and when and how does that happen?
So, yeah, so it's kind of a work in progress. Sometimes we put things through expenses because we anticipate paying with it through revenue, or like it kind of just depends where the revenue is coming from. But it often happens with asphalt because we look at it as being like repairs and maintenance, whereas then the auditors look at it as being like capital to extend the length of the road, not like the term of the road. So then, yeah, it's just kind of flips back and forth, and it more so too because we budget on a cash basis, whereas capital is accrual. So the capital comes out of it, goes to our assets, and then we amortize it. But cash basis, it's our cash being spent. So
basically, it's coming out of the same bucket, just different shelves, I would say. Yeah.
Yes, and that's why we have that comparison to go back to the zero for our budget, because of how you have to classify capital.
Yeah. Great explanation. Thanks for that. Anybody else? No. All right. A clean audit. Thank you very much for your hard work. All right. Hearing that, then I will ask the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And we should note, and I think folks know this, we should note that council does meet with our independent auditor and have them explain that as well, much more in depth, not nearly as well. No, but much more in-depth. So we do employ an external auditor so that we aren't just getting one source of information. All right, next up is recommendation for awarding city farmland. That's right. So we will look to Planning and Development Coordinator Malcolm for this one. Thank you.
Thank you. The City of Weyburn has 2,080 acres of farmland in various locations near the city. The city tenders the land on a cash basis for a 5-year lease term. The existing leases expire at the end of the 2026 crop year and are being called to tender for 2027 to 2031 crop year lease term. On June 1, 2026, the city-owned farmland tender was posted on the city's online bidding portal, bids and tenders, SAS tenders, and the city's website. Proposals were to be received by the City of Weyburn no later than June 29th at 1 p.m. A total of 2 bids were received. The bids are summarized below and do not include GST. The tender included a clause to give first right of refusal to the current lessees on the highest bid price. Due to this clause, Gab Farms, Inc. was offered to lease locations 4 through 6 at a rate of $126 per acre, which they chose to exercise. No bids were received for locations 1 and 7 through 11. Therefore, the current leaseholders were offered an extension to their leases at the price of their current lease, which they accepted. It is that the 2027 to 2031 farmland tender contracts for city-owned agricultural lands be awarded in accordance with the tender evaluation summary below for a combined annual revenue of $159,885.
Thank you. Can we get a motion?
Your Worship, I'll make the motion that the 2027 to 2031 farmland tender contracts for the city-owned agricultural lands be awarded in accordance with the tender evaluation summary as outlined in the report for a combined annual revenue of $159,885.
Thank you.
Your Worship, I will second that motion.
All right, thanks so much. Okay, questions on this? Council, do you have more insights you want to provide or inquiries? Pretty cut and dry, I think. Hearing none? No pun about dry? Nothing? Okay. Very good, then. I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Let's move on now to the King Street sanitary sewer lining. We'll look to the Director of Engineering for this one, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. The purpose of this project is to rehabilitate aging sanitary sewer infrastructure using trenchless lining methods in order to maintain reliable wastewater service, reduce the risk of further deterioration, and minimize future maintenance and operational concerns. This project consists of the rehabilitation of manhole-to-manhole 250 mil diameter sanitary sewer lining for 2 segments totaling approximately 120 meters along King Street, as follows in the chart below. The City of Weyburn has allocated $65,000 for sewer maintenance in the utility budget. On June 5th, 2026, the RFP for King Street sanitary sewer lining was posted on the city's online bidding portal, bids and tenders, SAS tenders, and on the city's website to obtain contractor services for this rehabilitation. Proposals were received by the City of Weyburn by June 30th, 2026 at 1 p.m. A total of 4 proposals were received. The qualifying bids are summarized below and include PST. The engineering department reviewed all proposals submitted to ensure that bidders met all response requirements and could meet the project objectives and deliverables. The proposals were evaluated in accordance with the criteria identified below: bid price at 40%, relevant experience at 40%, and methodology at 20%. In Situ Form Technologies Limited bids were within the allotted budget and met all RFP requirements and ranked highest in the total bid evaluation. It is recommended to award the 2026 King Street Sanitary Sewer Lining Project to In Situ Form Technologies Limited for a total of $60,677.05, including PST.
Thank you. Could a motion, please?
Thank you, Your Worship. I would make a motion that Council award the 2026 King Street Sanitary Sewer Lining Project to In Situ Form Technologies Limited for a total of $60,677.05, including PST.
Thank you. And a seconder?
Your Worship, I'll second that motion.
Thank you very much. All right, questions for the Director of Engineering on this? Councillor Heggs.
So there'll be no disturbance to the current pavement that was just finished, right? And this was always part of the original plan, correct?
Correct. So this is minimal disturbance to the surface infrastructure, which includes the pavement, curbs, boulevards, concrete. We did do an inspection on these lines before paving, and this line was a very good candidate for the lining services. So we chose to move forward with the paving, knowing that we would have minimal disturbance and be able to reline it this year. Yeah.
Thanks. Other questions? Councillor Morissette.
Thank you, Your Worship. Director Cognate, I know that you've got your ranking system here, but have you worked with In Situ Form Technologies before? Are they commonly known in this area of the province?
We have not worked with In Situ Form. The City of Weyburn has not, but they are very experienced. They have lined over 800 kilometers of pipes across both this province and Alberta and our neighboring provinces, so we're very confident with them.
Thank you.
Questions? Just to be clear, sorry, Councillor Bedore. No, you first.
Is this the first time trying this technology in the City of Weyburn?
You took my question, too.
Because it's really cool, and I saw it in another municipality, and I just want to know if this is the first time or we've done it before.
No, this will be our first time at doing the CIPP lining project, so we're very excited to try out this technology, and if it goes well, we will definitely be doing more of it in the future.
Excellent. No, that was my question, Councillor Bedore. I must have been looking over my shoulder. I'm excited to see it as well. Yeah. Councillor Corrigan?
Yeah, just building on that, because I kind of had the same question.
Yeah.
Could you just give us like a quick description of what it actually is? Or Councillor Bedore. Because, I mean, people watching or listening to this, I mean, haven't looked at a video or anything like that. So just a quick description of what it actually happens.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Councillor Bedore. No. So they go in and clean out the inside of the pipe, do an inspection, a pre-site inspection, make sure it's all ready. They remove any calcite or buildup, roots, pipe edges inside that pipe to make sure it's smooth wall, open and clear. Then they run a resin-soaked fabric through the pipe, and then they use steam to cure that resin. So basically, you have a new pipe inside of the old pipe, and they're done. So they go in through one manhole and they go manhole to manhole. So there may be 3, different manholes between the pipe segments. That's where they enter and exit. During that time, the service connections will be temporarily blocked off. Obviously, they can't have the material coming into the pipe while they're doing this work. So there is a little bit of temporary service disruption, but as would there be if you do an open cut as well. So once that resin fabric is cured in place, they'd have to go back in and reestablish those service connections. So they have a tool to go in there and basically cut open every service connection as well. And then they go back in with a camera inspection to ensure all the service connections are open, and provide the city with a good initial or final report, final completion report, and it's like new.
Thank you very much.
So just to be clear, there is a service interruption though for residents in the area. We'll let them know. We'll communicate that well.
Absolutely. So we will be giving them a construction notice, but in situ form also has their own construction notice templates that provide the residents with lots of detail on what to expect, any, the temporary service inconvenience. They do try to plan it between 8:30 a.m. and 5 p.m. to kind of limit when people are wanting to use their services, and then phone number for them to be contacted. So it'll be, they'll be provided with all the information.
Thanks for that. I think that is all of our questions. Motions on the floor. Call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Listen, that is the bulk of our business. Who'd have thought that that was going to be the most exciting agenda item tonight?
I did. I knew. Sorry, Laura.
Next up, introduction of bylaws. There are none. We have no unfinished business, no new business, so we'll move to inquiries and announcements. Just going to freestyle. Anybody? Go around the table. Councillor Higgs.
I'd just like to recognize a community business that's been fundraising for cancer. Merglot Steel Properties recently did their White Bear golf tournament, raised $65,000 this year for cancer research. Good for them.
You're here. Yep. Councillor Janke.
I want to give a shout out to the Weyburn Young Fellows Club on a successful concert in the park or parking lot, as it turned out to be. The weather cooperated, and the organization, not just of the Young Fellows Club, but of all the volunteers that came out to help, really made that a fantastic community event that was a huge win for our entire community. So thanks to everyone who helped organize and volunteer to make that happen.
Yeah, agreed. There's a lot going on right now. I would look to administration, I guess. Is there anything that... There's a lot going on in our community, obviously the last month or so, including that, the fair, the 4-H, all of the things. So it's a busy summer, and we're lucky to live where we live, and we got all this cool stuff going on. The only one I would mention upcoming this Friday is the Legion's 100th anniversary. So they're going to be doing a 24-hour color guard at the Cenotaph. So I would encourage folks to come on. There's also going to be some festivities on the street Friday night. I think that's going to be a pretty cool night. So, it's a way to honor those that gave everything for our country. So I think that is an important thing to do. I'll be there. I don't know what my role will be. I think I have to stand guard. I'm not sure what that means. So I'm excited to try. One other thing, if I could lean back on the Director of Engineering, just for an update on paving around our city.
Yes, sure. Our contractor has completed paving on 3rd Street now, so they will be back starting on the paving on 2nd Street on the last week of July. After that, they'll be moving to 4th. So yeah, it's just weather and contractor dependent at this point, but they are still set to are looking good to finish by August. So yeah, they have a few more locations to hit, but once they get started, they roll pretty quick. I mean, 3rd Street was about 3.5 days start to finish, with the exception of line painting. The center lines will all be repainted after all the paving is completed. So yeah.
Great, thanks for that. Councillor Higgs?
Just further to that, this is based predominantly on the contractor schedule and the way in which their manpower and equipment is available for us. It isn't necessarily our choice to have 3rd done first or the order in which the process happens.
Yeah, so primarily it is based on their scheduling and resources. However, the city has provided and requested specific times for locations not to be done, just to accommodate the special events around the city. Unfortunately, construction season is also that busy season for special events. So we have parades, events, special events, and private closures that have been booked and approved prior to the contractors submitting their schedule. So it's a lot of moving parts and other contractor work around town that all has to be coordinated together. So it's a bit of both, I would say. And then you throw in the weather as well. That causes a little bit of pressure here and there. So, yeah.
All right. Thanks so much. There's nothing else? Then I'll call us adjourned. Have a great night. See you in August.
If you'd like to share your feedback on the program you just watched, contact us today